My uncle didn't accidentally walk in on me. He stood there for 7 seconds, watching, and when I screamed for him to get out, he smiled. That was 3 months before he broke into my bedroom at 2 in the morning, and 6 months before my father beat him unconscious in our living room while I watched. Subscribe right now, because what I'm about to tell you will make you question everything you thought you knew about family protection. My name is Aaliyah Thompson. I was 19 years old when my uncle decided I wasn't his niece anymore, and the person who saved me, the one everyone will call a criminal, he's sitting in prison right now serving 20 years, and I visit him every single month because he's the only one who believed me when it mattered. But let me take you back to the bathroom, because that's where it started. That's the moment that changed everything. And what you think happened next? You're completely wrong. It was July 14th, 2023. I was 19, home from college for the summer, living with my parents in Charlotte, North Carolina. My uncle, Derek Thompson, 41 years old, my father's younger brother, had been staying with us for 2 months, lost his job, went through a divorce, needed a place to stay. My parents said yes immediately. That's what family does, right? I liked Uncle Derek growing up. He was the fun uncle. Gifts, jokes, video games, ice cream. He seemed harmless, normal, safe. When he moved in, everything seemed fine at first, but I started noticing things. The way he'd watch me when no one was looking, the way he'd position himself in doorways so I'd have to squeeze past him, the way he always appeared in whatever room I was in. I told myself I was being paranoid, that he was just being family, but something in my gut kept screaming that something was wrong. The bathroom incident happened on a Saturday afternoon. My parents were at the grocery store. My younger brother was at basketball practice. I thought I was alone. I'd just gotten out of the shower, standing in front of the mirror in just my towel, doing my skincare routine, music playing from my phone. The door opened. Not a knock, just opened. I turned around expecting my mom, but it was Uncle Derek, standing in the doorway, staring. His eyes weren't on my face. They were moving, slowly, deliberately, from my face down to my towel and back up again, taking his time, like he was memorizing every inch of me. I screamed, "Oh my God, get out! Get out right now!" He didn't move. He didn't jump back, startled. He just stood there, and then he smiled, this slow, creeping smile, like he was enjoying my panic. Then he said, "Sorry, I didn't know you were in here." But the light was on. The shower had just turned off. The music was playing. There was no way he didn't know I was in there. He stood there for 7 full seconds after I screamed, before he slowly backed out and closed the door. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped my phone. I locked the door immediately, my heart exploding in my chest. When I finally came out, he was in the living room watching TV like nothing happened. He looked at me and said, "Sorry about earlier, I really didn't know you were in there." That same smile on his face. Before I go further, tell me where you're watching from right now. Drop your city or country in the comments. Let's build a global community of people who refuse to stay silent. I didn't tell anyone about the bathroom. I convinced myself I was overreacting, that it was awkward but not dangerous, that family wouldn't hurt me. But something shifted after that day. Uncle Derek started appearing everywhere. I'd come downstairs late at night and he'd be sitting in the dark living room, just sitting there, facing the hallway. I'd be in the kitchen and turn around, and he'd be standing in the doorway, watching. I'd be in my room and hear footsteps outside my door, just standing there, then walking away. It happened so many times I started testing it. I'd sit silently in my room and wait. 15 minutes later, footsteps would stop outside my door, stand there, then walk away. He was monitoring me, tracking my movements, and I didn't know why. My mom asked if something was wrong. I wanted to tell her everything, but what came out was, "No, everything's fine." I didn't want to cause drama. I didn't have proof, so I said nothing, and that decision almost cost me my life. Then the texts started. At first, normal. "Hey, you want pizza for dinner?" But then they shifted. "You look really nice today. You've really grown up. You're not a little girl anymore.
"You're mature for 19. You're beautiful." I showed my best friend Jasmine. She said, "That's creepy as hell. You need to tell your parents." But I didn't. I started avoiding being home, only coming back when my parents were there. I felt safer with witnesses. One night at dinner, under the table, I felt something touch my foot, Uncle Derek's foot, pressing against mine. Deliberately, I pulled away. It happened again and again. I stood up abruptly and went to my room. My mom asked if something was wrong later. I said I had a headache. She said Uncle Derek was asking about me, wanted to know if I was mad at him. That made my skin crawl. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he was testing to see if I'd tell. Subscribe right now if you're still watching, because what happens next is something I still have nightmares about. It was August 27th, 2:13 in the morning. I woke up to the feeling of someone sitting on my bed. I opened my eyes. Uncle Derek was sitting on the edge of my mattress, his hand on my leg over the blanket, just sitting there, staring at me in the dark. Every muscle in my body went rigid. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. He whispered, "You're so beautiful when you sleep. I've been watching you sleep for weeks now. Did you know that? I come in here almost every night. You never wake up." My skin crawled. He'd been in my room multiple times while I was asleep, watching me for weeks. I found my voice. "Get out! Get out right now! How did you get in here? I locked the door." He tilted his head. "The lock on your door is easy to pick. I used to do it all the time when your dad and I were kids. He taught me how, actually." I tried to sit up, but his hand pressed down on my leg. "Don't be scared of me. I'm family. I'd never hurt you. I just think you're special. You're not like other girls. You're mature, beautiful." I screamed, "Dad! Mom! Help!" Uncle Derek jumped up, hands in surrender, his face suddenly concerned. "Whoa, hey, it's okay. I was just checking on you. You were making noises. I thought you were having a nightmare." My door flew open. My father, Aaliyah Thompson, stood in the doorway. His eyes moved from me to Derek. "What the hell are you doing in her room?" Derek's performance was perfect. "She was having a nightmare, Marcus. I heard her crying from downstairs. I swear I was just trying to help. You know I'd never hurt her. She's like a daughter to me." My father looked at me. I shook my head. "No, that's not true. He was sitting on my bed. His hand was on my leg. He said he's been coming in here for weeks while I'm sleeping. He's been watching me sleep." The change in my father's face was instant. Something dark passed over his features. "Get out," he said to Derek, his voice low and deadly. "Get out of this room right now." Derek backed towards the door. "Marcus, come on, you know me. I would never." My father took a step forward. "I said, get out." Derek left. My mother appeared and I told her everything. The bathroom, the staring, the texts, the footsteps, the foot touching, and now this. She believed me immediately. She said, "He's leaving tomorrow morning, first thing. He's never coming back." But that's not what happened. The next day, Uncle Derek didn't leave, and what happened after that exceeded every expectation. Comment below where you're watching from right now. Let me know this is reaching people everywhere.
The next morning, I came downstairs expecting him to be gone. But he was sitting at the kitchen table, drinking coffee, acting like nothing happened. My mother was at the stove, rigid with anger. My father stood by the sink, staring at Derek. "Why is he still here?" my mother said. "He refuses to leave. We've been arguing all morning." Derek looked at me and smiled. "Morning, Aaliyah. Sleep okay?" My father's voice cut through the room. "Don't talk to her." I couldn't listen anymore. I went back to my room and called Jasmine. She came over immediately. We called the police. Officer Patricia Jenkins came to the house within an hour. I told her everything. She said, "This is harassment and stalking behavior. We can file a report and get a restraining order, but restraining orders are just paper. They don't physically stop someone." We filed the report anyway. That afternoon, my father physically escorted Uncle Derek out of the house. We changed the locks, got cameras, got a security system. For 3 weeks, I felt safe. I thought it was over.
But on September 19th, Uncle Derek came back, and this time, he didn't knock. If you're still here, subscribe, because the ending of this story is not what you think it is. It was 7:42 at night. My parents were at a church event. My brother was at basketball practice. I was alone for the first time since the incident. We had new locks, cameras, a restraining order. I thought I was safe. I was on the couch watching Netflix when I heard it. Glass breaking in the kitchen. Loud. Sharp. I grabbed my phone, started dialing 911, but before I could hit call, he was there, standing in the doorway, Uncle Derek, holding a knife, a kitchen knife from our drawer. But the look in his eyes was pure insanity. "You ruined my life," he said, voice shaking with rage. "Everything I had is gone because of you. My job, my marriage, my family. I'm living in my car now because you couldn't keep your mouth shut. The police came to my job and I got fired because of you." He took a step forward. I stood slowly, hands raised. "Uncle Derek, please, you don't want to do this." He laughed, this horrible, broken laugh. "If I can't have a life, why should you?" The knife was shaking in his hand. He was crying. This wasn't just rage. This was desperation. A man with nothing left to lose. I ran. I bolted toward the stairs, but he was faster. He grabbed my arm, yanked me backwards so hard something popped in my shoulder. He slammed me against the wall, and my vision went black. When it came back, the knife was at my throat. I felt the cold metal against my skin. I felt his breath on my face. "I'm gonna make you regret everything," he said. And then the front door exploded open. My father came through it like something out of a movie. He must have sensed something was wrong. He didn't yell, he didn't negotiate. He saw the knife at my throat, and he acted. He tackled Derek off of me with so much force, they both flew across the room. The knife skittered under the couch. They fought, punching, grabbing. I heard bones cracking. Then my father got on top, and he didn't stop. His fists came down over and over. Derek's face turned red, then purple, then unrecognizable. Blood was everywhere. I was screaming, "Dad, stop! He's not moving!" But he didn't stop, not until my mother ran in and physically pulled him off. Derek was unconscious on our floor, blood pooling under his head, his breathing shallow and wet. My father looked at me, at his hands covered in blood, at Derek. Then he said, "Call the police." The police arrived 8 minutes later. They took Derek away on a stretcher. They put my father in handcuffs. I screamed, "What are you doing? He saved me!" But the officer said, "Your father didn't stop. He continued beating him after the threat was neutralized. That's assault with intent to kill." Tell me where you're watching from. Drop your location in the comments because I need the world to hear what happens when you protect your child too well. Derek woke up in the hospital 3 days later. Broken jaw, nose, fractured skull, missing teeth. When police interviewed him, he told the truth. He admitted everything. Breaking in, violating the restraining order, threatening me with a knife, planning to kill me. He admitted all of it. But it didn't matter, because my father kept hitting him after the threat was over, after Derek dropped the knife, after he was unconscious. The law said my father had a choice. He could have stopped, and that's when self-defense became attempted murder. The trial took 8 months. I testified. I told the court everything. I begged them to understand my father saved my life. But the prosecutor argued my father had a choice. The doorbell camera showed my father continuing to beat Derek for 43 seconds after Derek stopped moving. 43 seconds of pure rage that changed everything. The jury found my father guilty of aggravated assault. Derek was also charged with breaking and entering, violating a restraining order, assault with a deadly weapon, and attempted murder. But here's the twist nobody expected. Uncle Derek took a plea deal. 6 years with parole after 4. My father refused the plea. He wanted a trial. He wanted the world to know he was protecting his daughter. and because he took it to trial, when found guilty, the judge gave him 20 years, with parole after 12. Derek served 4 years and 3 months. He got out 8 months ago. Good behavior, anger management classes, convinced the parole board he was rehabilitated. He's out. He's free. He's walking around while my father sits in a cell. And the worst part? I see his car, Uncle Derek's car, parked down the street from my apartment, once a week, twice a week, just sitting there, watching. He's staying exactly 1,000 feet away, not violating the restraining order, technically, just sitting on a public street. The police can't do anything. I've moved apartments 3 times in 8 months. He finds me every time. I don't know how, but he finds me, and his car appears, down the street, always watching. I'm 21 now. I sleep with a bat next to my bed. 3 locks on my door, pepper spray everywhere, security system. I check my windows 17 times before bed. I'm in therapy 4 times a week. Complex PTSD. I dropped out of college, can't hold a job. My life has been destroyed. But I'm alive. I'm alive because my father didn't hesitate. I visit him every month, 4-hour drive each way. We talk through plexiglass. He asks if I'm okay, if I'm safe, if Derek is staying away. And I lie, every time, because if I tell him the truth, he'll do something from prison and add more years. So I lie. And every visit he says the same thing. I do it again. I do it 1,000 times. You're my daughter. I'd do anything to protect you. Then he smiles this sad, broken smile and says, I just wish I'd finished the job. That haunts me, because part of me agrees. Part of me wishes Uncle Derek had died that night. Then this would be over. Then I wouldn't look over my shoulder every day. Then I could sleep. Then I could breathe. Drop your location in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from. This community is global, and stories like mine are happening everywhere. The justice system failed my family. They took a father who protected his daughter and punished him more than the man who tried to kill her. My father got 20 years. Derek got 6. The math doesn't math. People ask if I blame my father, if I wish he'd handled it differently. Yes, I wish he'd stopped sooner so he wouldn't have gotten 20 years. But do I blame him for saving my life? Never. Not for 1 second. My father had never been in a fight before that night, never arrested, never even a speeding ticket. Construction foreman, coached basketball, volunteered at church. Good man, gentle man. But when he saw his daughter with a knife at her throat, something primal snapped, the instinct to protect at all costs, and society punished him for it.
The judge said, "You had a choice, Mr. Thompson. You could have stopped. Your continued assault turned defense into offense." But in that moment, with his daughter's blood on the wall, my father wasn't thinking about justice or law or consequences. He was thinking, keep her safe. Make sure this never happens again. If this pisses you off, if you think the system got it wrong, hit that like button. If you believe fathers have the right to protect their daughters, comment, "I stand with Marcus Thompson." If you think Derek should still be in prison, share this everywhere. My father will be eligible for parole in 10 more years. He'll be 55. He'll have missed my college graduation, my wedding, his grandchildren, a decade of life because he protected me, and Derek will have lived that decade free to potentially do this to someone else. Because Derek's not cured. You don't rehabilitate a man who grooms his teenage niece, breaks into a house with a knife, admits he planned to murder a girl. That's not something therapy fixes. That's fundamentally who he is. And he's out. He knows where I live, and the system wants me to wait until I'm in danger again before they'll help. Prevention isn't their job. Response is. One more time. Tell me where you're watching from. This community needs to stay connected. To anyone being stalked by someone they trusted, being watched by a family member, afraid to speak up, hear this. Tell someone. Tell everyone. Don't wait until it escalates.
Don't convince yourself you're overreacting. Don't protect the person hurting you. I stayed quiet about the bathroom. I deleted the texts. I convinced myself I was dramatic when my gut screamed something was wrong. My silence almost got me killed. If I'd spoken up sooner, maybe Derek would have been kicked out before it escalated. Maybe my father would still be home. There are resources in the description. Hotlines, organizations, people who specialize in stalking, family violence, abuse, people who will believe you, people who understand family members can be predators too. Uncle Derek wasn't a stranger. He was my father's brother. At my birthday parties, in my childhood photos, taught me to ride a bike. He was family, and that's why he was so dangerous, because I trusted him, because my parents trusted him, because we believed family meant safety. We were wrong, and that cost my father 20 years. You don't owe anyone access to your body. You don't owe anyone forgiveness. You don't owe anyone silence because they're related to you. Blood doesn't give someone the right to hurt you. If someone makes you uncomfortable, crosses boundaries, makes you feel unsafe, you have every right to speak up. My name is Aaliyah Thompson. I'm 21. I sleep 3 hours a night, check my locks 17 times before bed, carry pepper spray everywhere, look over my shoulder constantly. Panic attacks, can't work, dropped out of college. My life has been destroyed. But I'm alive because my father chose me. He chose protecting me over his freedom. He chose saving me over his future. And now he's paying the price. 20 years for being a good father. 20 years for doing what any parent would do. My father sacrificed everything for me. The least I can do is survive. Keep fighting. Tell this story so maybe someone else won't go through this. Uncle Derek saw me naked in the bathroom and decided I wasn't off limits anymore. He groomed me, stalked me, invaded my privacy, broke into my home, put a knife to my throat, tried to kill me. My father stopped him. My father saved me. My father is my hero, and the system calls him a criminal. If this moved you, like this video. Comment, "I believe Aaliyah." Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to The Only Witness because I'm going to keep telling these stories. Keep speaking up. Keep fighting. Silence protects predators. Silence enables abuse. Silence is what they want, and I refuse to be silent anymore. My father is in prison. Derek is free, and I'm somewhere in between, trying to survive, trying to heal, trying to rebuild. But I'm still here, still fighting, still speaking, and I'm not stopping until the world knows my father, Marcus Thompson, is not a criminal. He's a protector. He's a father. He's my hero. And Derek Thompson is not a victim. He's a predator. He's a stalker. He's a monster who tried to kill a 19-year-old girl and got away with it. That's my story. That's my truth, and I'm the only witness who refuses to stay silent. Subscribe to The Only Witness for more true stories of survival, betrayal, and the price of protection, because some stories need to be told, and I'm just getting started.